Good afternoon, and thank you, Shelley. We try our best.
Yes.
Welcome, one and all. It is Friday afternoon. It's 3 o'clock, and we're
Yay!
back. Hey, almost matching in purple attire, one on the
Yeah,
inside, one on the outside. But a pleasure
indeed.
to welcome everyone to Chateau del Nick and the Boudoir del Swindells. Um, Separate, obviously.
Yes,
We
yes,
don't
yes,
want to
yes.
get ourselves in trouble.
No, no,
But
no, no, no. No,
welcome,
definitely
welcome,
not.
welcome,
Definitely not.
everyone to the next instalment of Spiritline. Great to
Yeah.
have everyone. How you been, Tony?
Busy, busy, but good. Yeah. It's been a bit of a manic week, but we're getting there. It's finding the routine with new things as they come on board and getting them to fit into your life.
Yes.
And I tell you what has been a bit stunning this week, Nick. Scrolling through Facebook and seeing how many people are joining our Spiritline Continue the Debate group.
I know it has been absolutely brilliant, and I have to say to everyone who's joining in and coming online and saying hello right now, amazing, and it's all down to everyone at home. Um,
Absolutely.
for that whole, let me just adjust the light a little bit, see if it makes anything a little brighter. I don't know. Um, it is down once again, as I say on a Thursday night. It's down to people.
Yep,
Every single
absolutely.
time, it's people every step of
Yep.
the way, and where's yes, actually, that's a very good question. Um, where's the
This.
beard?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it got to the stage where it was itchy and food was sticking to it. So I thought, can't do this.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have to admit, I usually reach that stage and it all disappears, but
yeah.
I have
And
to
then
say it
grow
made you look
back.
very distinguished,
Thank you,
very
dear. Thank you.
distinguished.
Miles, thank you. And yes, that is so true. Spirit will give
Here,
you what
here.
you can handle. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, and actually, the things we've been doing just reinforce my faith in spirit because things are happening and we are being involved in people's lives and situations in a way that makes me think the time was right for us to pick this up because
yes.
we can do the next bits. And it's excellent. It's really, really good. But yeah, spirit will only give you what you can handle. Sometimes they do stretch you a little bit,
Yeah.
and they give you just that little bit extra, and you think, oh, okay, where's it? What's this about? Where's it coming from? But um,
Yeah, absolutely. And it reminds me, I always like to get a Babylon 5 quote in. Let's
absolutely.
get it out the way right here and right now. Season 5, View from the Gallery. See, I can even quote the series and the episode name. How bloody sad is that? Um, there's a that they were talking about the old saying, God knows you and knows how broad your shoulders are, and will only put on enough, knowing how much you can handle. And the response came, and it's the important bit is the response. The
Mm,
response came, yes, maybe that's what this is all about. And he says, what do you mean? He says, growing bigger shoulders,
absolutely.
growing bigger shoulders.
Going to the gym and doing that workout to just get them a little bit broader so you can, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And here,
Uh,
here, Miles, we need a
yeah,
push for making a positive change.
yes, yes. And that's absolutely what it is. It's about
Yeah.
stretching your thinking and your thought processes. And
Yes.
because so many people just close their minds down to this is my experience and this is my belief system.
Yeah.
And they don't stretch that a little bit and think, but there are other alternatives and different viewpoints,
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly. Exactly. And of course, we don't just have human beings online today.
No,
Um, we've got Hannah and Samantha, of course, but joined by Henry the dog.
who
Joined
is
by
so
Henry.
cute.
I know. Hello, Henry. And hello, Sam and Hannah, of course. And
Yeah, yeah,
hello
yeah.
to everyone. We've got Christine Cousins, Shelley Stewart,
Yeah.
Miles, of course. We've got Jen Stevens. Hello, darling. Jen Stevenson. Hello, darling. Mother Linda Brown, of course,
Yes.
who is now identifiable as herself because we've
Yeah.
done the do.
Love the little forget me
Um,
nots, Linda.
Absolutely, that was a wonderful picture that she found to have as a because when Dad passed, the garden spontaneously started growing forget me nots. It was I mean, the whole thing was pretty darn covered. And it was just such a weird, well, I say weird. Our whole lives are weird in this way of life, and I don't
Yeah, yeah,
mind
yeah.
admitting it. It's brilliant. Brilliantly weird experience, I should say. Um, so yeah, and of course this week I've been continuing chatting with people online. Um, Shelley, who is with us, has joined the new circle, as has for a couple of weeks now the lovely Jen. Um, Been a pleasure to learn from people, and I think that there was a discussion online this morning, which I think will kickstart our conversation, perhaps. But I know that everyone will chip in and direct the conversation because that's what we've said. Um, Everyone, please direct the conversation. This is your conversation. Whatever you
Absolutely.
want us to talk about, we will. But for me, that and you touched on it. Claire, you're fine. You're not late. We were just getting started. Um, um, it is development and understanding of this way of life that seems to be coming to the fore. And I
Hmm.
think that's why everyone has got really interested in the spirit line debate and the idea of the group to continue discussing things spiritual, and
Absolutely.
that mediumship and healing are vitally important to our way of life. Yes, but understanding how it works, who it came from, where it came from,
Mm.
is all equally important. And today I was talking online. The lovely Jason did a post on development circles, and it was a really engaging chat. Hi, Daryl. Good to see you. Welcome to the party. I'm stealing your word there, Claire. It is a party. It's a party. A group of people is a party.
It is.
Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and that concept of what development is and understanding where spiritualism came from, and that sometimes the truth is written by the victors,
Mm.
and sometimes the truth is written by those who shout loudest. It doesn't mean to say that it's the whole truth and nothing
No,
but
no.
the truth. But the
It's
more we,
perspective.
yeah, and the more we shout our truths in a polite way, the more the message will get out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're now
Sorry, I was
you're
just,
reading, so let me
I was
bring
just,
this up on screen because I was about to as well.
yeah. Please, can I ask some advice
So
on
so let
spiritual?
me let me read it out for everyone at home, just in case somebody's not watching and doing the ironing or something. Could I please ask some advice? I'm feeling spirit and know which family member it is, but I want to help others and call their loved ones forward. How can I call and see them, please? And that's from Sharon Williams.
Yes. Yes. Well, it's good that you know which member of your family is around and who's bringing themselves forward for you. Um, it's always lovely for me when family members come close because you just get that familiar energy, and it's really lovely. Um, Sharon, for me, it sort of depends where you are on your journey as to how you can help others, because there are lots of different ways to help other people and their loved ones um, come together. Um, it could be through a church, a development group. There are lots of different ways of getting into it. I personally went to a church, sat in open circle. Then Jean took me under a wing and developed me and took me to development circles and helped me in that way. But there are lots of different ways of. All I would say is whichever path you choose, make sure it's with somebody you are comfortable with. and somebody you trust and somebody who you connect with, because if there's not that connection, it's not a classroom teacher based thing. It's got to be that connection through everybody. Oh, okay. Yeah. What, keep doing what you're doing, because that is so important.
Yeah,
Because many
absolutely.
times, I remember one lovely gentleman that was in a building, a house I went to, Nick, and he'd stayed because his family were there. So he'd hung around and sort of got stuck. And it was just having that conversation with him and bringing him closer to his loved ones on the other side. And they came and helped him. But it is just about, yeah, keep doing what you're doing. And that's brilliant. And Facebook user, if you could just, whoever said good afternoon there, just drop your name so we know who you are.
Yes, this is you here, Facebook user. It's because you haven't connected with StreamYard on Facebook. Don't worry, but if you tell us who you are, we can
We can shout you
hopefully
out.
shout you out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
give you a shout
Quite right
out.
too. And it's good to see Miles and Shelley chatting in the chat as well. Everyone, please keep doing that. It's really,
Yeah,
really important. And of course, welcome to Emily Major. I was just talking about you, love. Good
he
to
was
see you
indeed.
on it.
All good as well.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And as far as the development for me is concerned, Sharon, I was in a similar position to Tony. I'd experienced things, was aware of things, but I had absolutely no control over it whatsoever. And we're talking round about the age of 16, 17. I then found, well, I say I found the local spiritualist. Oh, the
Oh, it
Facebook
was
user was
Emily.
Emily. She's
Yeah.
connected now. There you go. Well done, though. Yeah, I say I found a spiritualist church. The spiritualist church found me in more ways than
Mm.
one, because I was working in the local sports centre and I was on the committee helping out in that way as well. And there was a group open up in the sports centre, and I was sent along to keep an eye on them. Um, I was invited to make the tea at the end of the service. I was invited to never make tea at the end of the service again. So they gave me a different job. And they got me counting beans, and I joined a circle. And it was the members of the church. We were all friendly. Some of us knew each other, some of us didn't. And just sitting in a development circle, an open development circle, was an opportunity to explore using guided meditations to control that contact. And I still, to this day, and I don't know how much, Sharon, that you were. I don't know how much you're into developing and using meditations, but guided meditations are great, and you can guide yourself on them as well to the same effect. I do recommend working with other people, like Tony said, because it really is of great benefit. But if you can just do a simple guided meditation where you are sitting and you close your eyes and you just link in by imagining a door, going through that door and up a set of stairs onto a corridor, and ask for whoever wants to come and say hello to that person in front of you, or and practice on yourself to begin with as well with your guides. And this is very basic and quick, but
Mm.
I use this. I still use it today. A corridor, up the stairs, onto the corridor, and whoever is there, I see in the guided meditation. Describe them. I invite them to come closer and feel them, and that's how I still work. Off and on the base of it. Um, and I think if you can practice that for a little bit, that may help. But it is basically the same as going to a circle. And like Tony said, make sure it's someone you connect with, someone who you can really get. I mean, when we talk about our guides and friends and helpers in the world of spirit, it's always like attracts like, because they're going to work well with us.
Hmm.
And it has to be the
Absolutely.
same down here as
Absolutely.
well. So
Yeah.
I hope that helps as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, Lisa. sorry, it was you saying
Ah,
afternoon.
just on a break at work. Excellent. Welcome,
Yeah,
welcome, welcome.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Janine says Aries on his way online. Hope we're both well. Love and light.
Hi,
Absolutely,
Janine.
love and
Thank
light back at
you.
you. And thank you for the healing, Miles. Thank you for the healing. We all need healing at some point.
Yes, absolutely. For
Yeah.
myself, I might look a little bit bedraggled and tired because I was up at 5:30 this morning to take Mum to her pain clinic, where they're
Yes.
teaching her how to manage her knees. So it was a long drive. It was a long drive, but you know,
Ah,
Spirit keep you going. And in actual
they
fact,
do.
there were a couple of times I really needed some help from Spirit, and they did help me out. Um, just ask, just ask, and then you meet lovely spiritual people who don't even wait to be asked and just send it to you. You know,
Yeah.
and this
It's,
is the
it's a,
thing. This is that community feeling, isn't it?
it is absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, Miles is a good egg. Miles is a good egg. God love him.
Oh yes.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
I'll find a local open circle and trust I'll get my answer. Do you know what? That's brilliant. You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome.
Absolutely.
And, you
Absolutely.
know, give it a try. Yes, it might not be for you. It might not be the right group for you, but give it a go.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I do local workshops in the village hall where I live. I also do online circles as well. If you want to know what they're like, you don't have to ask me. Ask the lovely Shelley Stewart who's joined us online. She's one of my new members, and the wonderful Jen. Where are you? I'm just bringing you. I've just realised that people can't see me scrolling down the list.
No, no.
Jen Stevenson, she's also a member of the online circle as well. You know, and just talk to people, ask them, do exactly what you've just done. How do you do it? How do you do it?
Mm,
And when you get the thoughts and the opinions that, oh, hang on a minute, yeah, that could work for me. That's when to go for it and give it a go. Um, it's really quite, everyone's unique and everyone's different, aren't they, Tony? Everyone works
absolutely.
slightly differently.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Um,
mean, um, it's it is about finding your own way of doing it, but by talking with other people, by interacting with other spiritual people, you learn and you think that bit works, but that bit doesn't, but that bit that they said that works, and you just build things together. And as your guides feel like you're moving forward and moving in a different direction, they might change, they might switch, and but it's about finding what works for you, and
yes,
finding how your guides want to work with you as well. And yeah, and nobody needs certificates and bits of paper to say that you're certified to work on platforms and things. It's about going for it and working in your way respectfully with spirit. I mean, we have a giggle and we get a little bit naughty
raun-
sometimes, don't we, Nick?
rowdy and raunchy, I think is the
Rowdy and
correct.
raunchy, but always
Yeah,
respectfully, and
yes,
always
absolutely.
we will always respect the person sat in front of us and the person we're working with in spirit. And it is just that. It is just finding how to do it. And I'm going to discuss tarot cards because when I was learning, um, what I found helpful for me was to sit and shuffle a deck of tarot. Don't always take the book out, walk outside, open your refuse receptacle, and put the book in, close it, and go back in the house. Don't read the book. But what I found was I would do a guided meditation, and then I would just pull 3 cards, and it would be past, present, and thoughts and
Result.
advice
Yeah.
going forward. Um, and I would just write down what I felt was inspired from each card, not from the words on it or just looking at the imagery. And what I actually found was the imagery on the cards would change. Spirit would change it in my perception so that it would draw out the bits that they wanted me to draw out from it. And when I read them back, I would be like, wow,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's how I found a path in for me.
Yeah, and I have to
Oh,
say, I was giggling there, and I will explain why I was giggling. And I think Shelley and Jen would probably know this. We did exactly the same in one of the circles. I can't remember. I think it was Jen's circle. Um, it right down to the, you know, ignore the words, you know, just look at the pictures and not calling it, you know, past, present, future, past, present, and help. Because
yeah,
we
it's
don't do it. And psychic exercises are useful to help you understand
mhm.
symbols and meanings coming through. Um, you know, thank you both to Shelley and Jen
Wow,
for
yeah, yeah, yeah,
chipping
yeah,
in
yeah.
about the circle
Nick's
as well,
circle is
because
fabulous. Yes, yes. The little bit I
um,
managed to see before Virgin rebooted and updated my router was very good.
yes, oh yes, you did come along as well, didn't you, darling?
For
Yes, yes,
about
yes,
10
yes, yes.
minutes. And then Virgin said, nah, can't do that. Not Virgin, Sky, sorry.
Sky, you know,
Sky.
gonna say this is where we have to be careful because this is where the naughty comments might start coming.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I just want to jump back a little because I do not want to facilitate the continued feeling of this by missing it. Linda Brown, I don't feel as
Oh,
if I'm being
I
answered.
saw that go up and I was going to
Yeah.
come to it. But yeah.
So your thoughts, because I've already answered
Um,
this about 50 million times to Mother.
well, I
You
can
know, but
imagine what this is about because I would imagine mum is, excuse me for calling you mum, but in this context, it's
yeah,
mum Linda. Mummy Linda will be reaching out to one particular person. And as I think we said on the last Spirit line, my mum's mum passed when I was about 2.5 ish. And she's been back to friends of mine who've given me readings. She's been back to me. I've seen and heard and spoken to her, but she's not been to my mum directly. My mum has never had a direct message from her mum in those 50 years that she's been crossed over. And that can be for a multitude of reasons. Either my nana feels my mum's not ready, or my nana's not ready to bring that message forward directly, or there's lots and lots. There's learning that needs to be done over there. And all right, you may say, well, she's been there 54 years. Well, time is immaterial in the world of spirit, really. So, but Linda, I know we all ache to have that individual connection from that loved one in spirit. And Francis is around. He's been there. I know he's been there because I've worked with him. I've brought him to Nick and to you while I was at Little Port. But there's a multitude of reasons why he hasn't been back directly, and I understand it's painful, especially because it's only been 2 years, which it's flown. I really can't believe it's been 2 years, but that's my thoughts on that anyway. In a little,
absolutely, totally agree, and I will add to that actually. Sometimes we get answers that we don't entirely recognise
yes,
because it's too close and personal. For example, um, she knows I'm teasing her now, but this is actually a genuinely serious point. We don't perceive and see the person around us, and we get upset that they're not listening. But when we ask them to go and look after someone else, they're not going to be around us. So it is finding that
Mm.
balance of, well, of recognizing that although I don't necessarily feel or get many messages, they are actually listening to me. For example, if you ask someone in spirit to watch over a family member because you don't trust them on the road, and then see them make a huge mistake this morning, and actually come through completely unscathed, you know that you've got what you asked for.
Yeah,
And yes, I am
absolutely.
speaking from bitter personal experience because that happened today. But the point is this, it is a combination of all of the above, exactly what you're
Hmm.
saying. And we don't always, especially when it's personal, we don't always hear what we expect to hear.
Yes.
And that was a hard lesson. Even, I mean, I've been doing this, 25 years now. I've been developing my mediumship for 25 years, and I nearly jacked it in when I lost Dad. That was only 2 years ago, and
Yeah,
I was so angry, and I felt like I was not being heard. But then I have to think about the other side of it. That would he wanted to have stayed in the condition he would have been? I
absolutely.
begged and pleaded, but I was not listened to because it wasn't about me
Yeah.
only. It was
No,
about
it
other
was about,
people.
it is about the family as a whole.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And I completely understand things have happened in my life, everybody's life, where your faith, not just in spirit, but in God, can be shaken right to the very, very core. And it's at those times that you've got to dig really, really deep.
yes, yeah,
Absolutely have to get. And that actually is when you need spirit and God the most, when you feel that alone, that you don't even believe that God's around you.
yeah,
And I'm getting emotional talking about it
yeah.
because I've been there. I've been there where I felt that hopeless and isolated. I thought, you can't be here. Otherwise, I wouldn't feel like this.
Yeah.
Um, and that's when you need to dig deep and reach out and pray in
And
whatever
also
method.
reach out and actually also reach out to the living spirit as well.
Yeah, that's what I meant. You need to reach out for your friends. And I mean, I don't know why, but I tend to get a lot of people come to me from spirit who have chosen their time and have taken action,
Yeah,
and they bring that sense to me of, the thing is, I knew there were physical people there for me, but I didn't know how to ask for that help.
yeah,
And that's a really sad thing to get your head around, that you know there are people there, but you just don't know how, what words to articulate to bring that forward. And it's about, yeah, digging deep, Linda, and never questioning that his love isn't around you, because it absolutely is. Absolutely is. It's just they give us what we need, not what we want.
yeah,
And it might be that those two things are too far apart at the minute, that what you want isn't what you need right now.
yeah.
Um,
Exactly. And I have to admit that ties in beautifully. And I'm going to ignore the one about sorry about the typos because I don't care about typos in and of
no, no, no,
themselves.
no.
I'm going
Absolutely.
back one. And I never think that my prayers are being answered. He's just helping me plod along, but I'm cross if that's the case. Look, I'm glad that I know you, Shelley, because I'm going to say this quite clearly. There is no way you are just plodding along. You might feel like it, but having met you when you were at one of your lowest points and having spoken to you off and on since then, you've done more than plod along, love. You really, really have. You have risen so high. The problem with that is that when we're not entirely comfortable in our skin and in the world in which we're living, when you rise so high, it is so easy to fall so far back down again. Which is why
Absolutely.
the living
Absolutely.
spirit as well as the great spirit. Sorry,
Oh,
Shelley. I know I make you cry all the time. It's not my intent, but you really must recognize that spirit up there and spirit, the living spirit round here, the living people, as I call living spirit. are our umbrellas, are our
Mm.
parachutes, and are the ones jumping out of the plane with us. And if we struggle to pull the cable, they can reach across and give it a yank for us. That
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the most important thing. And yes, I know we've got to learn things on our journey, but the one thing that I think is the first and most important thing to learn is that we are not alone and that we can ask for help. As Tony was saying about the kind of people, and I've seen it all the time, bless him, the people that come through. But I personally believe, if I may just say, Tony, that's because they know that you won't judge them.
well, yeah.
And it's so easy to feel judged. And I
Yes,
think
yes,
that is pretty much a whole encompassing thing, not just in this way of life, but overarchingly. It is so easy to feel judged, and that's just such a terrible thing. So
absolutely.
Shelley, you're not plodding along; you are bouncing. And we'll do something like that in the next meditation. We'll do some flying and bouncing. Um,
Oh, I
and
I
hello to
love that. Yeah,
it's
Stephen.
fun. Hello to Stephen. Nice to see you, mate. And of course, hello to the lovely Yanis from Down Under. We are truly international today.
We are. We are. Wow.
Um,
Oh, I was
Jen
just
Ste
reading that one.
Yeah. After my mum died, this is from Jen Stevens. After my mum died, I was desperate to hear that she was okay, but it took nearly 12 years before she did. I think it was because I had to deal with my own feelings about her death first, but it was hard at the time. Yeah, and again, it is
Definitely.
different for everyone. Somebody asked me last Thursday. They came up to me and I was in the middle of a conversation, so I gave them a really quick answer, and 5 minutes went back later and gave them the long-winded one. But they said, "How soon can spirit come back after there's been a passing?"
Yeah.
And I said between 30 seconds and 30 years,
Yeah. Yeah.
and because it is so wide-rangingly different.
Yeah.
It is so
And I
wide-ranging.
think Jen raises an interesting point there because, um, yeah, you have to work through your own grief first. And saying work through is wrong, really, because you never fully recover from a passing. You learn to live with the gaps in your life, is my humble opinion. Um, from from my own point of view, especially because I still haven't completely recovered from a lot of passings that I've had in my life. But if you are at a particularly vulnerable stage, which, let's be honest, people coming to a spiritualist church are coming for a reason. They have suffered a loss and they want to come and know that that person's okay. But if you're in that vulnerable place, that person you want to come through may not be wanting to, because they don't want to trigger off a whole series of emotions for you and send you off down a rabbit hole. So somebody else might come through to bring that message through, which is why I always say when I'm starting a demonstration, please don't close your mind. Don't just focus on mum, dad, grandma, granddad. Keep your mind open to all of those around you who have loved you, because yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. 30 minutes. It's they are wonderful. They are wonderful. But yeah, it's about that, keeping that open mind and thinking, right, well, I know that person hasn't come through. However, I heard that one and I heard that one and I heard from him and her and everything else.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. It,
it's yeah, and you know what? This is what makes it worthwhile, that everyone's coming on and supporting each other, and you know, not necessarily completely following our conversation, but having their own. This is what it's about. It
it
really
is.
is.
It
It's building a
absolutely is.
community, and there are people that have come on Spiritline for the first time today that have been made to feel really welcome, which is amazing. For those that are joining us for the first time, it's your show. Guide us, ask us questions. What do you want to
Yeah.
know? What do you want to talk about? And we will
Yeah.
do what we can to support that. Earlier on,
Everybody's welcome. Everybody's
absolutely.
welcome.
Earlier on, we were talking about, obviously, I was discussing with you Emily Major, who's joined us online,
Yes, yes, yes.
and we were talking about. Nah, not listening to it. Absolutely, I don't mind. Um, we were talking about the discussion that I was obviously having with Emily earlier about the philosophy of spiritualism,
Mm,
about
mm.
the history of spiritualism that was brought up by a wonderful post from a gentleman, Leonard. And he made some very, very good points about how we perceive spiritualism. Um, how, I mean, I chipped in with my usual bit about the seven principles actually being nearer 20.
Mm.
Um, but for you, how old is spiritualism, Tony?
Um, for me,
In your
okay.
opinion, how long has spiritualism been in existence?
Well, we all have the good book, which has many examples of mediumship and spirits in it. Um, that for me is where it all starts, and even before that, because I mean Moses and the burning bush, and going back even to the Old Testament, it's as old, tale as old as time, song
Oh,
as old as
bless
rhyme.
her. Oh, I can hear her singing it now.
So can
Oh,
I,
Jessica
Angela.
Fletcher, Angela Lansbury.
But it
Tale as
is,
old as
isn't it?
time. Yeah,
Song as old as rhyme, Beauty and the Beast. But wonderful.
glad to be of service, Shelley.
But yeah, it's that's where that's where it is. As long as people have been talking to spirit and holding conversation. Hi. Yep.
Yes, and
Yep.
I can never remember the figure that I give. I have to keep checking because my head is so full of useless information. I can never remember it. My answer is 13.7 billion years,
Yes.
because that's how old the physical universe is. So that's how long it will have been needed. Um,
Shelley.
oh.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here's my
Here's my
handle, here's my
handle.
spout.
I'm glad we decided to do it that way. There is other ways.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, for me, spiritualism in whatever form it took and has taken over the years has changed. Of course, the names
Mm-hmm.
and places have changed. But for me, spiritualism in its form of mediumship, communicating with the spirit world, has been in existence since the creation of the universe in one way, shape, or another, since the human race started evolving from whatever it was that we were before and between, and was the missing link, that 250,000
Mm.
years of human evolution. It's always been there. That's why people
Yeah.
worship the sun, because they saw a big bright ball of light in the sky, so close and yet so far away, giving warmth and light and life, and freeing them from the burdens of darkness. It's easy to misinterpret that as the Great Spirit,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the universe is completely, um, recycled ideas and suggestions and ways of working. Yeah, it's always been there in one way or another.
Definitely.
Um, I just Miles. I knew someone who is a born again Christian, doesn't believe in my spiritual beliefs. However, we still have common ground in our different faiths, and we can still communicate. Brilliant, brilliant. I get that. I mean, I'm sure Tony is the same. We both get it from both
Mm.
angles of that spectrum.
Yes.
Sometimes it's more than others. But if we can all listen to each other more than dictate to each other. I
Yes.
was talking last night about the personal relationship with the Great Spirit. That we all have our own relationship with the Great Spirit, and therefore the world of spirit. and that it's not our job to tell people what that relationship's shape and feel is. It's to help people find that relationship for themselves. It's kind of like a marriage counselor on a celestial level, you know, or at least a guidance counselor on a celestial level. Um, we are here to help, reestablish that connection with the divine, but it's your connection, and it's how you perceive it that matters. And if we could all accept that, I think there'd be a lot less problems in the world.
Yeah, yeah. If we all look for the common ground rather than the differences that we've got, we would all rub along. Yeah.
I love it when you say that. There are two comments that Tony comes out with that I really enjoy hearing. The first one is "rob along," and then the other one is, "If you've got a minute, can you bob on StreamYard with me?"
Yeah.
I love that. Rub along and bob on.
Yeah. Can you just bob
Very
on for me, please?
just bob on for me. I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
But yeah, you're absolutely right, Miles. It is a really important lesson. It really, really is.
it is. It is. And I mean, Wath Hall, where the Rainbow Project's based, the Church of England vicar's wife has rented a room to have a multi-faith prayer room. And she has a meeting 2 or 3 times a week. And they've got lovely little comfy armchairs, and they all sit round and say their prayers. And she keeps bobbing in and saying to us, "Is there anybody you want me to add to my prayer lists for tonight?" Well,
Wow.
yeah, we have a few people who are having a bit of a hard time, and it's really nice. It really, really is nice.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's just so amazing because we talk about oh no.
no, no,
We'll come to that. I think it's great. That phrase multi faith, is so wonderful a progression in this world, and it really, really needs to be, enhanced and made better
interestingly,
use of.
it's not approved by the Diocese of Sheffield.
Well, there's a surprise. Sorry.
Is that maybe progressive? Yep. Can't have any of
Yeah.
that. No, 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 no.
Yeah, and this is the thing. It's all I find that the older and more rich an organization becomes, the less they want to change things because they don't want to pee off people,
Mm,
even though they're already upsetting people by not growing and evolving and changing.
yeah.
It's easier to stay in the same position than it is to venture a brave thing like, oh, I don't know, taking a step forward. That is, yes, that is the point, and that is the point. People progress, not organizations. Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
Totally agree. And once again, goes hand in hand. Fear can hinder change. Miles, you're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um.
Ooh.
Oh
Shall I see
yeah.
your comment?
Yeah.
Mm,
Our old vicar had to leave because his daughter married a woman. Yeah. And this is why we are not ordained by the Church of England.
yes.
We were ordained by a spiritualist, a Christian spiritualist minister, who in turn was previously ordained by a Christian spiritualist minister, and it's that um, passing on of that uh, not ability and not authority, but it's that passing on of that role by the laying on of the hands. It's
Yeah.
something that you'll see in all sorts of different walks of life. It's the laying on of hands when it comes to healing, when it comes to just being kind with someone and wanting to support someone, you lay on the hands. And
Yeah.
that's very, very prevalent in ordination, the laying on of the hands to
Yeah.
pass on that role of ministry. So
Yeah.
we were ordained by Christian spiritualist ministers, and we've been part of organisations. I think we've both been part of a few organisations over the years,
Yeah,
um,
yes, we have.
and which is why we now work with others to actually build a new organisation to promote equality, kindness, love, compassion. Certainly, I always wanted to be a minister, but I would have never have sold out who I really was
No,
to get that role, and I'd have
no.
had to have done. So I didn't, and I ended up running petrol stations instead for 25 years. But roll on in my life, and Spirit wanted it, so Spirit made it happen, and I was in the right place at the right time to meet the right people.
Yeah,
And I know, from the time when we were talking about your ordination, Tony, it was a very similar thing for you,
it
that you
absolutely
were
was.
in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, yeah. What Spirit want, they will get, and they will engineer the ways to get there. Definitely. I was just going to say, I like Sharon Williams' comment: God and Jesus are love, regardless of who, what, and where. I reckon
Absolutely.
it goes back to what Nick
Absolutely.
was saying about ministry. It's our job to help you curate your relationship with the divine, that which you call divine.
Yes.
Um, and as long as people are respectful and open, they are welcome to watch anything Nick and I do, to
Yeah.
attend any churches or centres where we may be serving. Whether you have faith or not, whether you believe in spirit or not, as long as you come with an open heart and are respectful,
Yeah.
unlike the service we attended just before Christmas, whereby um, people came in a little bit worse for wear, shall we say?
Mhm.
And the medium, God love him, was doing his best, and they were getting louder and louder, and Michael was asking them politely to be quiet, and then not so politely to be quiet and keep the voice down. And they said it's all effing SH1T anyway, and stood up and left. And the medium just turned around and said, "Have a great evening, Merry Christmas."
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't know if I could have been that calm.
I
But
don't know. I think in the moment you get that help. I mean, we had a similar situation in a very public space. We had a stall. This was back in the old church that I was involved with. We had a stall at a local fete. I mean, we're talking, it's a big fete. It was massive,
mm,
big old field. And we had a stall there, and we were giving out psychic newspapers just to give people information about the way of life on a broader terms. And a lady came up to the stall and said, "Oh, what's this? May I have one?" And she picked it up and took it away. And you could see she was reading it and getting more and more grumpy as she read it, because she started to slow down and she started to sink her shoulders down. And then suddenly the shoulders come up. It was like a cat seeing the heckles come up.
yeah.
And the paper got ripped into sundry pieces and thrown into the air with the words, "What a lot of SH1T." Um, and our principal minister, our founder, and at the time our president, Lynn, she just looks over and says, "God bless you." Completely straight face. And yes, we are going to face difficulty, but it's how, and I think this is pretty much the whole theme of the day.
Mm,
It's how we face the difficulty
yeah,
that makes us who we are, and we have to rise above the animalistic desire to strike back, lash out, fight back, and just live the principles that we live and certainly for ourselves, we preach about kindness and balance and fairness. We have to live that,
absolutely,
otherwise we're
absolutely.
in the wrong jobs. We have to be that example of patience. We have to be that example, and it is hard sometimes. It really, really is. And there have been moments I've been simmering and I've had to walk away.
Mm,
um but if we can be that example, each one of us, of patience. We don't know why that person's had that experience. We don't know why that person feels that way. It could be the pseudo religious brainwashing that people have about us without ever even walking or looking or seeing what we actually do, or it could be that somebody has actually been to a group and had a really really bad experience, and we have to be open enough to say, yeah, sometimes things go wrong, let me help you. And
Yeah.
and like you said, for every walk of life, every faith, every culture, every creed, everyone comes from the same thing. We all have red stuff pumping through us. We all, have no, I'm not saying that. We all have red stuff pumping through us. We're all, made of the same stuff. Star
Mhm.
stuff. You know, what's inside is what matters, and even within that is the spirit, the soul, which is completely unique and yet absolutely the same, no matter where or when you come from. So, it's really really important, as difficult as it is sometimes, and I know it is, to try and maintain that balance of. It always goes back to that why. Thank you. You're making God stronger with another challenge, and then may God walk with you.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
And
hello to Lisa Scott, who's recently just joined us a few minutes
yeah,
ago.
yeah,
Hope you're all right.
3:56 p.m. Um, Shelley, Shelley Scott's, there's Shelley Stewart's comment there. I wasn't allowed to pray. Nobody can stop you praying for anybody, dear.
No.
You can pray for whomever you wish.
I know where she's, because she actually worked in a church.
Mm.
Yeah. What the wonderful thing about spirit communication, and this is something I always advise people. The wonderful thing about spirit communication, the wonderful thing about prayer, is that they hear it in there, not out of there.
Yeah.
So what you do in here is your business, and they can't hear it. It's none of their business. The only people that can hear it are the ones that matter, the ones you're trying to get in touch with. So, send up your thoughts and don't worry about, not qualified to pray for people. Oh, here we go. See what I was saying about I struggle sometimes? And yet you have the opposite side of that, which I'm going to bring up with the lovely Sherry Ann, all the way from France. Um, it was like going home the first time I walked into my first spiritualist church. Yep, know the feeling.
Yeah.
Know the feeling.
Yeah. It was lovely. It was really nice.
Even if the tea that night was rubbish.
Yeah. Bit weak and watery.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you the words that were used?
No.
Right, this just to lighten and liven things up and bring a bit
Mm.
of a giggle to it. I was nervous. I was making the tea, and I was hanging around to the end. And Lynn, who had organised the first meeting there, she comes up to me with this really really sweet, innocent looking face. So, do you think he'll be coming back next week? Oh yes, I said. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, I'll be back. Looking forward to it. And I'm happy to help and do whatever it is that you need to do. And that sweet, innocent-looking face suddenly turned a little bit and went, that's wonderful, but perhaps we'll find you a different job, because a lot of the people were mentioning something to do with your tea and having similarity to gnats. I'm not quite sure what they meant. It was the sweetest way of saying, you can't make tea, don't even bother.
Yeah, you can't make tea for toffee.
Yeah, and once again, that is the whole point of, even when you're being told you're rubbish at something in a spiritualist church, it's done in a nice way. Well, we
Yeah,
hope most
in a
of the
very
time.
positive way. Very positive way. And
Um,
Sharon Williams is rolling on the floor.
yes, bless you. I do apologise. Don't just be careful what you roll in when I'm making tea. In actual fact, I made tea for the medium last night at church. The lovely Russ Askew, wonderful night. I made tea for him. I had to make it 3 times because it was so weak the first 2
Oh
times.
gosh. Yeah, Jean has hairs like that. it's like just wave the tea bag in the general direction of the cup. Yeah.
Yes.
Might not
Yes.
even get wet with the water.
I'm gonna say show the cup the tea bag, and that's about it.
Yes. Yeah.
I got a bit of a reputation, and one of the mediums, Peter Spillett, used to send a tea bag. Because this is how far we're going back. He used to staple a tea bag to the acceptance of service letter he would send, in order to say, and he would put at the bottom, "Here's another one to save Nick drying them out again." Yeah.
Shelley's not hiring you to be the tea person, even though you do.
No.
Oh, Daryl's been locked
Absolutely.
out.
Oh, right. Okay. I've just been locked out of my Facebook. Someone from Singapore just did something and I've been suspended, so I can't message anyone, even Nick. Daryl, bless you. I will keep an eye on your page and report anything they post. Because that's usually what it is. They do like to lock you out so that they can post, Bitcoin and stuff on. I don't know why people think that's okay. But I will keep an eye out for you while you try and resolve that, mate. Because that's what we do for each other. We look after each other.
We do.
So yes. So I'm never going to get a job as a team aide.
No.
But I think I think it really is important that we push forward that message of patience and compassion and equality, and that we don't all know the answers.
No.
Going back to what I was saying about, the foundations of spiritualism, we only know what we're told. We only know what's written in history. But wait, is that entirely true? We are mediumistic. We can all develop, and we can all ask those people that were there. And whilst we will get it from our perspective, and in a way that we would understand, it can sometimes be a lot more comforting and a lot more open than some of the stuff we are told. And there's a word that you know me, Tony. I used to get really, really shirty about loads of stuff, all the time. I'm a lot more relaxed now, I think. One word that used to rub me up the wrong way, but actually I use it myself and love it now, is that it resonates with me. And I think it used to rub me up because it was a way of showing that not everything was the same and not everything was uniform and organized. And now I revel in that truth that nothing's uniform and nothing's organized.
No.
And that whole principle of resonating with me and resonating with you is a really wonderful way of identifying that we all have that unique and individual connection to the spirit world. And if we look for the similarities in what resonates with us with other people's resonations, if that's even a word, I will have to Google it later to find out if I just made up a new word. I say we campaign people to put whatever it was that I can't even remember what the word was. Resonations. We put resonations in the dictionary, please. Hi, Joanne. How you doing, my lovely? Good to see you. Welcome. I think it's important to be open to new ideas, and I've changed a lot of my views over the last few years. I think as I've started to broaden my circle of influence.
Yeah.
I think I'm a lot more easygoing on the world. And that's exactly what's, I couldn't have been as open to new ideas as I am now if I hadn't spent a time in my life being closed to some, is the honest truth. Because it makes me realize what an absolute idiot I was. And I don't mind admitting that. That's part and parcel of life.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's have it up there then. Go on. I could see you reading it. Tip for tea, put a second-class stamp at the bottom of the cup, then the tea bag, add hot water, and when the king's face can't be seen, it's about there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Adi.
That's about
Thank
how
you,
I like
Adi.
mine.
Spoken like a true pro tea maker, which is
Yeah.
something I
Yeah.
am not. I am.
But the taste of the glue might spoil your tea a little bit.
Well, yeah, but then oh no, we don't lick stamps no more, do we? They're
No.
self-adhesive. Self-adhesive. Yes.
Yes,
Bless you.
they are. They are. Peace starts within, Joanne. Absolutely.
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 Absolutely. As the old song goes at the end of the I'm really going to wind Mum up. I do apologise. There's a lovely song that they play at the end of the service in King's Lynn. Go in peace, go in love, sharing love together. And it always gets stuck in our head, you see, and I can
Yeah,
never
yeah,
remember the rest. But
yeah.
it's go in peace and go in love. And there is a go in peace, go in kindness. There's several different versions of that
Yeah,
hymn. But I like the one at King's Lynn, to be fair. And
yeah,
it
yeah.
always starts from within.
It does, absolutely. I think a lot of people are waking up and energy is beginning to heighten.
Yes.
You could be right there, Sherry Ann. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I've got the feeling Sherry Ann's had another download. Sherry Ann's another one of the wonderful people I've met doing online circles, and she's in France, and she introduced me to the word download. I think it's wonderful. You know, when you get, that sudden moment of realization and revelation and information comes through and you can't quite put your finger on it, but it starts to unpack itself. She calls it download. And I think that's a wonderful phrase. What a
Yeah,
lovely way of putting
yeah.
it.
I love that. I love that. It's one of my favorite hymns. Um,
Yeah,
wasn't it the letter of St. Francis?
I think so. Yes, 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 of course it is. Yes, yes, yes. Sorry.
Make me a tree of peace.
You can always tell when my guides are about, because I apologise all the time. I say, yes, I think it is, and all of a sudden I heard this was, what do you mean you think it is? Of course it is. It's like, okay,
Of course
sorry.
it is. Of course it is.
All right. I had a blonde moment,
Yeah.
even though I'm
Yeah.
half ginger at the moment, But there
Mm.
we are. It is, it is all about bringing peace to the world and about sharing truth and about being kind. And as Sherry Ann says, waking up, waking
Mm-hmm.
up.
And energy's
Mm.
beginning to heighten.
Yes, definitely.
Well, the sooner the better. The sooner the better, and then people might start, as somebody's addresses last year all seemed to resonate around. People might just start being nice to each other.
They might have done, yes. Where did you hear that?
Somebody I watch on YouTube now and again.
Yeah.
People should just be nice to each other.
Absolutely. Now, there's a name I haven't seen in a long time. Hello, Sylvia. Sylvia Mallion. We have to be completely open-minded, even though we have opinions. Things I thought were so right, I now dispute. People who laughed at me will change as times goes on. The world and life's changing quickly. People will have to open up. I totally agree. And 2 or 3 years ago, I probably wouldn't necessarily have got that in the way that I do now,
Yeah.
because I've been through that process of shedding onion skins that grew back after I'd shed the first ones. And I'm with you. I really, really am with you. And I've just got to share this good old giggle. Nick's guide is very bossy. I found, like, he is. He keeps me in check. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And we shouldn't be afraid to have a diet of hat.
Yes. Yes. If that happens,
We
I
really,
eat
really
my
should.
hat. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And
There you, there you go.
I keep my favourite baseball cap in reserve just in case, but I think every other one's gone.
Mm.
The Trilby hat that I bought when I wanted to look like the guy off The Exorcist. I just loved that style when I was a teenager. Who knew that I'd end up being able to do rescue work after all of that? You see, it's
Mm.
quite funny, really.
Indeed,
But
indeed.
there we are. It's great, and thank you everyone again for opening up and engaging and joining in the conversation. It really is
Absolutely, absolutely.
so brilliant. Tony's got things to do at 4:30, so we are going to start
Yeah,
wrapping up because
we have to.
I have been a good boy this week and kept an eye on the time for you because I know when we get chatting, it can sometimes
It
slip
flies.
away with us. Yeah.
It does, yeah. If you
But thank
haven't,
you, everyone.
join the Facebook group Spiritline, continue the debate, and keep talking in there.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I wonder if I can share the link for everyone. I can. Oh, here we go. Right, this is very experimental with me, and I do make mistakes, so please bear with me. But with any luck, I will be able to say, um, share this. There we go, my friends. That is the link, www.facebook.com/groups/2 revs. It was the shortest, quickest one that I could figure out. And I know we're normally at 4 p.m. I did try and update things today, but we had to start a little earlier today. But all of these services will be saved on a designated playlist on my YouTube channel. And also, they will all be shared onto the featured of that group, facebook.com
Brilliant.
/groups/2 revs. See, I'm getting quite techie with this all now, ain't I?
You are.
Um,
It's all getting good.
it's fun, and thank you, of course, to thank you, of course, to Shelley for your compliment on the intro, which you'll see all again today. And it's okay, Joanne, because you will have plenty to say next time, and we should be back to normal time next week, I would say,
Yes,
unless
it should be okay.
something happens.
It
And
should.
I mean, I don't even Yanis, what time actually is it for you? I know you're from down
Yeah,
under, but with the British summertime and all that, sometimes I get a bit confused. Um, is it? It can't be 4 in the morning, surely, for you.
I, no.
If it is, bless your heart. I know that Sherry Ann's an hour ahead of us. It's currently 5:15 for you. Um, and thank you everyone for getting involved and joining in.
Mm,
Um,
it's been brilliant. Again, the engagement's been brilliant.
yeah, it really really has. And yes, we hope to be back for 4 o'clock. I will. I I'll tell you what. Let's ask the group. Do I leave the time off the poster just in case, so that you're more inclined to look at the time on the event page rather than be misled by the poster, if we do need to change it?
Good point. Good point.
And I will also make use of the at everyone, and this is one of the reasons for doing the group page. What I will do is, and if we ever have to change the time again, I'll do an at everyone post in the group page,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then everyone gets tagged basically.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so sorry about the confusion on the time, but you can watch back and continue the debate, as Tony said,
Hmm.
on the Facebook group. But thank you all so much, not just for joining us here, but I know a lot of you. I wouldn't have known if I hadn't seen the poster. Bless you. We'll use that notification thing in the group thing
Yeah, yeah,
then.
definitely. Then
That's
you
a good
know.
idea. But seriously, everyone, thank you, because the work that I've seen you all doing, sharing the group page throughout the week, it just shows the passion that you've got for it,
Mhm,
and we're very,
definitely.
very, very grateful.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it's good afternoon from me,
And from me, and see
and
you soon.
yes, and thank you all so very, very much. And like we said, oh bless, thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. I'll do you another article this weekend, because I'm a bit behind on them. Um, and bless you, Adi. Bless you too, and bless you all. Thank you so much. But for now, it's good night from me. Good night from him.
Good night.
Good night. God bless, and be safe, everyone. Until next time, may the peace of the Great Spirit go with you all, and good night.